What do you know about intentional torts? Answer before the gavel goes bang. Which causes of action can work even when the plaintiff has not actually been touched? Is it assault, battery, both assault and battery, neither assault nor battery? The answer is assault. Battery requires a touching. Assault only requires the immediate apprehension of a touching. Touching's not required. It gets harder. Don't worry. Which of these, done by a defendant, won't meet the interference requirement of the tort of trespass to chattels? Actual dispossession of the chattel, actual touching of the chattel, damage to the chattel, substantial use of the chattel. The answer is actual touching of the chattel. Actual touching of the chattel. Mere touching does not rise to the level of an interference for the tort of trespass to chattels. People can touch your chattels. That's all they do. You can't sue them. Not merely for that. Let's move on. Next question. Check the box for each of the following that can constitute an entry for the tort of trespass to land. But don't actually use a marker on your screen, unless you really want to. Your screen. Subsurface entry, entering airspace below a reasonable distance from the ground, successfully inveigling another person to enter, failure to exit land, failure to remove chattels from land. And the answer is all of those can count as an entry. So you should have a check mark next to all of those. All of those can count as an entry for the tort of trespass to land. Okay, wipe off your screen. Here's another. Check the box for each of the following that is essential for a prima facie case for the tort of intentional infliction of emotional distress. Conduct that is extreme and outrageous. Intent to bring about emotional distress as opposed to mere recklessness. Severe emotional distress. And the answer is that you should have a check mark next to conduct that's extreme and outrageous and severe emotional distress, but no check mark next to intent, despite the fact that intentional infliction of emotional distress is the only one of the classic 7 intentional torts with intent in its name. It is the only one of the 7 that does not actually require intent. Mere recklessness can satisfy the intent element for intentional infliction of emotional distress. Don't blame me. I didn't make up the law. I am just trying to teach it to you. Speaking of the 7 classic intentional torts, name them. Now, people's views on what count as an intentional tort differ, okay? But what I would consider the classic 7, and these are the 7 that have long been listed by the National Conference of Bar Examiners. There are 4 intentional torts to the person: battery, assault, false imprisonment, and intentional infliction of emotional distress or outrage. And 3 to property: trespass to land, trespass to chattels, and conversion. But if you learned something different, you're grading yourself, so whatever. How did you do? Did you get every answer correct? If not, now is the time to lean forward so that I can gavel you.